Hello, welcome to this episode, video, rendition, moment of magic here in Psychedelic Ministry. I am Dina Justice, the human doing, and the infinite being, Dolly Grace, at your service as the minister of magic. I'm going to talk today about the topic of resistance. Resistance is a fun topic. Resistance is something that I have navigated in different ways throughout my life. So I used to be a firm believer that life is all about the path of least resistance. Yet when I started leaning into my resistance and using my resistance as a guidepost, as a calling of the path forward, it was like the shortcut in my life. The willingness to be in the discomfort of the resistance got me farther, faster, and it would end up reaching beyond my original goal or intention than if I had taken the path of least resistance, which the path of least resistance to me is the long, scenic side route to about the same location, but honestly, not as good as the same location as if I just take the path through the resistance. So I've come to love resistance because it's an indicator for me. I'm like, ooh, there's resistance over here. Now, the other thing that's important to note is when I feel resistance, it's only ever because of what is inside of me. It's nothing out here, because my reality is a reflection of what's going on inside of me. So I utilize that information. I'm like, oh, I feel resistance, and I might look for the evidence in my reality because that's information, that's feedback going, oh, look, here's the resistance. Here's what you're doing inside of you that's not working. So I look for the resistance inside of me and in my reality as the feedback, the information that's telling me what's actually going on inside of here that I am resisting, that's causing blocks, barricades, boundaries, boxes of limitation that don't actually exist. So one of the things I love to say is when resistance shows up, whether it's resistance inside of me, in my partner, in our kids, in my friends, or in my clients, I always say, you're only ever fighting yourself, right? I don't want to be fighting with any part of me. I do not deserve to fight inside of myself. So if I start to notice little conflicts out here, that's all information because that's a reflection of what's going on in here. And again, I don't deserve to live my life in conflict. I desire to live inside of a peaceful, harmonious, loving environment in here, first and foremost, because when I am it, so too is my reality outside of me. So I look for those. Oh, there's a little bit of conflict. How am I contributing to that conflict? And oh, that's my work to do. And I know, I have been doing this magic long enough, especially with the kids. If there's like resistance or tension or conflict between me and the kids, I don't need to go to the kids about it. I need to turn right in here and I go, okay, what's going on inside of me that's contributing to this? Because that's my creation. I can only be responsible for what I'm co-creating in that relationship. I cannot be responsible for what they are or are not doing by my perception. I can only be responsible for what I'm co-creating with them. So if I notice resistance or tension or a little bit of conflict or negativity or whatever, that's again feedback. And I look at that and I go, oh, where is that mine? What do I need to shift? I had some pretty extraordinary experiences this summer with shifting things with the kids purely by doing my work right here. And one of them was significant. I never even talked to him about it. But all of a sudden the girls were like, what's going on? Because you two are like super getting along now. I'm like, I did my work. It's not his responsibility. Yes, I can ask him to show up and take responsibility for what is his, but I knew if I were willing to take responsibility for what's mine, I can automatically change that over there. And I don't have to address it directly. I don't have to create a big drama scene about it. I just get to take responsibility for what is mine inside of me. And by doing the work, it automatically resolved itself. And it's been pretty freaking harmonious between me and him for the last like 3 months because of that work that I did inside of me. So there's a couple of overarching concepts that I'm getting at here. Resistance is one of them, but the second one is what we call behavioral flexibility. I, as an adult with 3 times the life experience as that child, have behavioral flexibility to do things different. I will tell you this, most people are too stubborn and too committed to their ways and want everything outside of them to change. Good luck with that. Have fun. How's that working for you? I know that I have behavioral flexibility. So my willingness, even if I don't want to, my willingness, even if I don't necessarily want to change is the number one most powerful thing I can do in my entire life. Did you hear that? My willingness to change, even when I don't want to, even if I don't want to, even especially when I don't want to, my willingness to change is the most powerful thing I can do to affect my entire life. Because when I am that change inside of me, it automatically is reflected in my external reality. Had to hit the pause button because the love of my life and the magic kitty woo-woo came into the room playing together. I love my life. I love my partner. I love my family. I love my cat. I love being the change because when I am the change, so is my reality. And I know that when I own that power inside of me, my reality gets even better every single day because I'm willing to own it here. I don't expect anybody else to be the change. I invite them into the change. Like my partner and I have the most incredible, beyond our wildest dreams partnership and relationship because we're always inviting each other to be the change. We do the work in real time together. We don't sweep anything under the rug because we both own our responsibility. We own the resistance inside of us. We own the fact that we can be the change and be behaviorally flexible so that we get to have and co-create what we desire inside of ourselves and with each other. That's how I show up in my family. That's how I show up in everything that I do and create in my life is who I be. I be responsible. I be the resistance. I'm like, oh, resistance. Let me follow that stream because it fascinates me. Oh, behavioral flexibility. I don't want to. I want everybody else to do it. But guess what? If I want everybody else to do it, I'm only causing my own suffering by resisting not doing it myself. F that. I do not deserve that, and neither do you. You deserve to get to live an epic, incredible, magical, fulfilled, satisfying, content, wondrous, beyond your wildest dreams life. You deserve that. And you get to be responsible for creating that to happen by being the change, by going, I resist. Like I notice I'm resisting being the change. I notice I'm fighting inside of myself being the change. Okay, well, now that I noticed it, now that I can acknowledge that I'm resistant to it, I take some deep breaths. I might have to grumble a lot along the way, and that's okay. I allow myself to have the feelings I'm feeling, and I know that it's just the story in my head. So I don't get too caught up in the story. And sometimes I just give myself the satisfaction of being like, Sebastian, can I talk to you for a minute? This is the resistance I have inside of me, and puppy is being grumpy right now. That's what he calls me, his pokey little puppy. And he can be like, okay, I hear you, puppy. Are you ready to do something different? Not quite yet, but I'm getting there. Okay, good. Right? Like, we don't have to make it this big hoopla and make it all challenging and hard and stressful and filled with resentment. If I do that, I'm the only one creating that. That's my creation, and I'm responsible for that too. So I can have my 5 minutes of pouting. I give myself a couple of minutes of that. And I can acknowledge it where it comes up as I'm doing the shifting. Like right now, the light is shifting and I see the shadows on my face and I'm grumpy about that, but whatever. I'm here to do my life perfectly imperfect, because if I strive for perfection the way I used to in the past, let me tell you, that didn't work for me. Done with that. Right? Now I get to do things perfectly imperfect, or I would never get any of my work out into the world. Like, yay, shadows, woohoo! Afternoon, delight, sunshine has come through my window. Normally I would put a light in front of me. It's in storage right now. I didn't want to go get it. It doesn't matter. I was inspired. I took inspired, imperfect action in the moment because I get to be behaviorally flexible. I get to be the change to not care that I don't have my light and that the shadows are coming through the window. So what? So what? Right? I'm only causing myself harm by creating all those limitations. When I allow myself to just be free to be the magic of who I am and to be the change, me being the change is, oh, I'm doing this right now. Because in the past, I would have stopped myself because there was shadows or whatever. I don't have to do that anymore, because that's all signs of my own resistance. That's all me fighting me. If I need it to be perfect, that's me resisting doing things perfectly imperfect because some story in my head doesn't serve me. I show up to be the change. I show up to notice the resistance, to let myself be grumpy about it for a few minutes if I need to be, or sometimes I celebrate. Oh, resistance. Yes, resistance. I'm going to move through it. Sometimes resistance is one of our best signs of a breakthrough. So is confusion. I look at all of these things and I use them and I go, how do I get to be the change because I'm feeling tension over here, or I experience conflict over here, or that thing in my life isn't the way I would really like it to be. So what can I take responsibility for and do differently inside of me so that this is an even greater representation, reflection, manifestation of what it is inside of me. So that's it. That's what I got for you today. We talked about resistance. We talked about behavioral responsibility. We talked about being willing to be the change, taking responsibility and accepting that into our world. So I hope you got something great from this. You know the routine. This is social media. Do the like, do the subscribe, do the follow, do the share, all of the magical things. We love you. We thank you for being here today. Thank yourself for being here, for receiving this, for hearing it, for resisting it, for whatever experience you're having of it. I want to remind you, wherever you are inside of yourself, wherever you are inside of this planet Earth, and wherever you are inside of the great cosmic realm, you are doing a great job. Know that you are always doing a great job. Love yourself exactly where you're at in every moment. Because the more you do that, the more It becomes easy inside of you. I know. I've walked the path. It took a long time, but here I am on the other side. It's possible. And I want to let you know too that I love you. You are loved, and I look forward to being with you again soon. I am the human doing Dina Justice and the infinite being Dolly Grace, the Minister of Magic. This is another video here for psychedelic ministry, or an audio if you're hearing it on the podcast. Be with you again soon. Thank you so much for your presence, your attention, your time, your energy, your focus, all of which are incredibly precious, and you deserve all of those from you.